Your grandfather's estate is for legitimate heirs only, Marcus declared, his bulk filling the doorway of the house I'd visited every summer since childhood. Not charity cases he felt sorry for. The text notification on my phone wasn't about charity, it was from the executor asking when I'd be moving into my $8.5 million inheritance. The September rain had turned the long driveway to Grandpa William South Connecticut estate into a river of mud. I'd parked at the gate and walked the quarter-mile to the main house, my shoes ruined, only to find my stepfather playing bouncer at what used to be my second home. Marcus, I just want to collect a few things from my room, I said, trying to see past him into the foyer where Grandma's portrait still hung. Your room? He laughed, the sound sharp as breaking glass. You mean the guest room where William let you stay out of pity? That's being renovated for real family use. Behind him, my mother appeared in the doorway. 5 years since Dad's death, 3 years since she'd married Marcus, and she still looked like a stranger when she stood next to him. Olivia, she said quietly, not meeting my eyes. You should go. Mom, it's Grandpa's wake. I have every right. You have no rights here, Marcus interrupted. William's gone. This house passes to blood family. Your mother's his daughter. I'm her husband. You? You're just the kid from her first marriage. See how that works? I'm his granddaughter. Step-granddaughter, he corrected. And barely that. When's the last time you even visited? 2 years ago? 3? Last month, actually. Every Tuesday when you were at work. His face darkened. Sneaking around. Visiting my grandfather. He was sick. Someone needed to be here. We were here, Mom said defensively. You were in Florida. At your beach house. The one you bought after convincing Grandpa to give you a small loan. How dare you? My phone buzzed again. Harrison Pike, Grandpa's attorney for 40 years. I glanced at the screen, documentation ready for review. The house is yours effective immediately. Answer your phone somewhere else, Marcus said. This is a house of mourning. Funny how you're mourning from inside while keeping family out in the rain. You're not family, he repeated. Your mother and I are William's heirs. The will reading is tomorrow, just a formality. Harrison already told us the basics, everything to your mother as the only surviving child. Did Harrison mention any specifics? Why would he? It's straightforward. Rich old man, 1 daughter, she inherits. You're not even a footnote. I thought about the Tuesday visits they didn't know about. Grandpa in his study, hands shaking as he signed papers. Olivia, he'd said, blood isn't about marriage certificates. You've been my granddaughter since you were 7 years old. Don't let anyone tell you different. I should go, I said finally. First smart thing you've said. Marcus started to close the door. Marcus? I called. Enjoy the house tonight. Really take it in. Planning to. Might even sleep in the master suite. Perfect. Grandpa would want that room appreciated one last time. He frowned at my tone but shut the door anyway. Through the lead glass, I saw Mom hesitate before following him deeper into the house. I walked back to my car, rain soaking through my coat. 23 years of memories in that house. Learning chess in the library. Baking cookies with Grandma before she died. Grandpa teaching me to ride on the back 40 acres. All of it apparently erased by Marcus's arrival 3 years ago. My phone rang. Harrison. Olivia? I got your text. You're at the house? Was at the house. Marcus is playing security guard. That pompous, he caught himself. I apologize. That was unprofessional. But accurate. Indeed. How did your mother react? She stood behind him. Literally and figuratively. I see. His voice carried 40 years of legal wisdom. And they're still under the impression that tomorrow is just a formality? Marcus quoted you. Said you told them Mom inherits everything. I said the will contains provisions for your mother. They heard what they wanted to hear. Should I warn them? Legally? No. Morally? That's your call. But Olivia, your grandfather was very specific about his wishes. He knew exactly what Marcus was the moment he met him. Gold digger. His words were more colorful, but yes. The amendments he made to his will after your mother's remarriage were comprehensive. How comprehensive? Let's just say tomorrow will be educational for all involved. After we hung up, I drove to the Marriott downtown, the same hotel where Grandpa had stayed during his separation from Grandma 30 years ago. He'd told me the story once, how they'd fought about money, about trust, about family. How he'd lived here for 3 months before realizing home wasn't a house but the people who truly loved you. The desk clerk recognized me. Miss Thorne. We have your usual room ready. My usual room. Because for 2 years, I'd been staying here whenever Marcus decided I wasn't welcome. Grandpa had found out after the 3rd visit and tried to intervene. He's jealous, Grandpa had said. Knows you're a real grandchild while he's just a parasitic in-law. But Olivia, I won't always be here to protect you. So I've made arrangements. What kind of arrangements? The permanent kind. The kind that can't be undone by marriage or manipulation or mistaken loyalty. That was 6 months ago. The cancer diagnosis had come 2 months later. The Tuesday visits had started immediately, quiet hours while Marcus worked and Mom shopped, just Grandpa and me in his study, talking about everything and nothing. They think I'm senile, he'd laughed during one visit. Marcus actually suggested I sign a power of attorney. Can you imagine? Giving him control of my assets. What did you say? I told him I'd think about it. Then I called Harrison and made some adjustments. If they want to play games with an old man, let them learn that old doesn't mean stupid. Now he was gone. Heart attack in his sleep, peaceful as he'd wanted. The funeral had been this morning, a production orchestrated by Marcus, who'd somehow become the family spokesman. I'd sat in the back, uninvited to the family section, watching Mom dab at tears that seemed more relieved than grieved. My phone buzzed. A text from my cousin Emma, at the house. Marcus just gave a speech about his plans for renovation. Mom asked about you. He said you weren't welcome. I typed back, I'll see you tomorrow at the reading. He says that's family only too. Harrison sent me an invitation. I'll be there. Good. Someone needs to stand up to him. Grandpa would be furious. Grandpa had opinions about Marcus. Gold-plated snake was my favorite. He called him that to his face once. What? When? Last Christmas. Marcus tried to get him to invest in some scheme. Grandpa listened politely, then said, Marcus, you're a gold-plated snake, and I wouldn't trust you with my pocket change, let alone my portfolio. I wish I'd seen that. Mom cried for 3 hours. Said Grandpa was being cruel. Marcus probably cried harder. In private. While counting imaginary money. The next morning came too quickly. The law offices of Pike, Morrison, and Associates occupied the top floor of a building overlooking Long Island Sound. I arrived early, finding Harrison in his office reviewing documents. Olivia. He stood, embracing me gently. How are you holding up? I'm okay. Nervous about what happens next. Don't be. Your grandfather was many things, but unclear wasn't one of them. His wishes are explicit and ironclad. Marcus seems confident. Marcus is an idiot who confused proximity with inheritance. Your grandfather saw through him immediately. But Mom didn't. Love is blind. Grief is blinder. Your mother was vulnerable after your father's death. Marcus saw an opportunity. He saw dollar signs. Precisely. Shall we? He gestured toward the conference room. The others had already arrived. Mom sat at the far end of the table, Marcus beside her like a bodyguard. My aunts Patricia and Helen occupied one side with their husbands. Emma gave me a small wave from her seat beside her mother. She's not supposed to be here, Marcus said immediately. On the contrary, Harrison said smoothly. Miss Thorne is specifically named in the will. Her presence is required. Named as what? She's not even blood. Marcus. Mom's voice was sharp. Please. He subsided, but his glare could have melted steel. Harrison took his position at the head of the table, opening a leather folder. Before we begin, I should note that William updated his will 6 months ago. All previous versions are void. 6 months ago? Patricia frowned. But he was already sick then. Yes. However, his mental capacity was thoroughly documented. 2 independent physicians confirmed his competence. The updates are uncontestable. What updates? Mom asked, her voice tight. We'll go through them systematically. First, smaller bequests. Harrison read through a list of charitable donations, employee bonuses, and personal items. Grandpa's assistant got his vintage watch. The gardener received a generous pension. Various charities received substantial sums. Now, family bequests. To my sisters, Patricia and Helen, I leave $500,000 each, with love and the hope they'll continue to visit the family estate as always. Murmurs of appreciation from my aunts. To my beloved granddaughter Emma, I leave $1 million for the completion of her medical degree, plus the contents of my library, knowing she'll treasure the books as I have. Emma gasped, tears starting. To various other grandchildren. He read through a list. Every cousin received something significant, money, property, heirlooms. Everyone except. Where's mine? Mom interrupted. Just skip to the main inheritance. Harrison looked at her over his reading glasses. Very well. Regarding the bulk of my estate, including the Connecticut property, the investment portfolio, and all remaining assets. Marcus leaned forward, already calculating. I leave everything to my granddaughter, Olivia Catherine Thorne. The silence was absolute. Then Marcus exploded. That's impossible. Check again. I've checked multiple times, Mr. Daniels. The language is clear. She's not even his real granddaughter. She's just. I'll read the relevant passage, Harrison interrupted. To Olivia, who has been my true granddaughter since the day she entered my life. Blood means nothing if the heart isn't involved. She alone visited during my illness, expecting nothing, offering everything. She alone remembered that love isn't about DNA but about showing up. This is fraud, Marcus snarled. She manipulated a sick old man. I'd be very careful about accusations, Harrison warned. Fraud is a serious charge. One that would require proof of diminished capacity, which we've already established didn't exist. Mom? I looked at her, seeing the shock turning to something else. Rage? Calculation? You visited him, she said quietly. Behind our backs. I visited him because he was alone. You were always in Florida or the Hamptons or wherever Marcus dragged you. We had lives. He had cancer. He needed family. I'm his daughter. The words came out as a shriek. His actual daughter. I took care of him for years. You took his money for years, I corrected. There's a difference. How dare you? Shall I continue? Harrison asked mildly. There's a section specifically addressing you, Margaret. Mom went pale. What section? To my daughter Margaret, I leave the sum of $1. Not out of cruelty, but as a reminder that she already received her inheritance, $3 million over the past 5 years in loans she never intended to repay, gifts she barely acknowledged, and bailouts from her husband's failed ventures. I'm not punishing her for remarrying. I'm acknowledging that she chose money over family long before I made this will. He didn't mean that, Mom whispered. He was sick, confused. There's more. If Margaret contests this will, she forfeits even the dollar. I've left detailed documentation of every transfer, every request, every manipulation. Harrison has copies. I suggest she accept my decision with whatever grace she can muster. This isn't happening, Marcus stood, pacing. There has to be a loophole. Undue influence, mental incapacity, something. Sit down, Mr. Daniels, Harrison said coldly. You're mentioned as well. Marcus froze. To Marcus Daniels, who married my daughter for her presumed inheritance, I leave my complete contempt and a restraining order. He is banned from the estate in perpetuity. Any attempt to circumvent this ban will result in criminal prosecution. I've left funds specifically for security to ensure this. He can't ban me from my own wife's home. It's not your wife's home. It's Miss Thorne's home. And yes, he can and did establish legal parameters for trespass. Olivia. Mom turned to me, tears streaming. You can't do this. I'm your mother. Who stood silent while your husband blocked me from Grandpa's wake? Who let him call me a charity case? Who chose him over me every single time? I was trying to keep peace. You were keeping Marcus happy. There's a difference. So you stole my inheritance? I didn't steal anything. I visited Grandpa. Talked to him. Held his hand during chemo. Where were you? I couldn't see him like that. But you could cash his checks. This is ridiculous, Marcus snarled. We'll contest. No jury will believe a step-grandchild deserves more than an actual daughter. Feel free to try, Harrison said. Though I should mention the documentation William left. Financial records showing systematic exploitation. Security footage of you searching his office. Recordings of conversations where you discussed waiting for the old man to die. Would you like me to play them? Marcus went white. Recordings? Mom gasped. William was many things, Harrison said. But naive wasn't one of them. When Mr. Daniels arrived and immediately began inquiring about inheritance, William took precautions. Play them, I said quietly. Olivia, no, Mom pleaded. Play them. Let everyone hear what Grandpa heard. Harrison pulled out a tablet, tapping the screen. Marcus's voice filled the room. Told you, baby, we just need to wait. Old bastard can't last much longer. Once he's gone, this place is ours. We can sell it, invest the money in my company. Marcus, he's my father. He's a meal ticket. Don't pretend otherwise. You've been setting this up for years, playing the devoted daughter. Time to collect. Harrison stopped the recording. The room was silent except for Mom's quiet sobs. There are hours more, he said. Would you like to contest the will and have these played in court? We're leaving, Marcus grabbed Mom's arm. Wait. I stood. There's something else. They paused at the door. Grandpa left you the beach house in Florida. The one you bought with his money. He wanted you to have somewhere to go. The beach house? Hope flickered in Mom's eyes. Free and clear. On one condition. What condition? Marcus demanded. You never contact me again. Never come to the estate. Never attempt to claim any relationship. You take the beach house and disappear from my life. You can't, Marcus started. Or I can follow Grandpa's original plan and have you investigated for fraud. He left evidence of your forged signatures on loan documents. Your choice. They left without another word. The room slowly emptied until only Harrison and I remained. You knew, I said. All this time, you knew what he was planning. I helped him plan it. He was very specific. You were the only one who loved him without calculation. I just loved him. Exactly. That's why you inherited. Not because you're blood, but because you're family. Real family. What do I do with an $8.5 million estate? What you've always done. Show up. Take care of it. Fill it with actual love instead of calculated affection. Marcus will try something. Let him. Your grandfather anticipated every move. Trust me, Marcus Daniels is about to discover that marrying for money is significantly harder when the money fights back. That night, I returned to the estate. No Marcus blocking the door. No mom standing complicitly behind him. Just me in the house where I'd grown up in every way that mattered. I found a letter on Grandpa's desk, my name written in his shaky hand, Olivia. If you're reading this, then Harrison has done his job and you're probably feeling guilty. Don't. This house was always yours in every way that mattered. You're the only one who saw it as home rather than an asset. Your mother made her choice. She chose Marcus and money over family and love. That's her right, but choices have consequences. You chose differently. You chose to show up, to care, to love without calculation. The estate is yours. Not because I'm punishing anyone, but because you're the only one who'll preserve what it really is, a home where family gathers, where memories matter more than square footage, where love is the only currency that counts. Take care of it. Fill it with laughter again. Maybe even forgive your mother someday, though I wouldn't blame you if that day never comes. All my love, Grandpa. P.S. Marcus is an idiot. I've been poor and I've been rich, and I can smell a gold digger at 1,000 paces. He never had a chance. I laughed through my tears, hearing his voice in every word. Tomorrow, I'd start the legal process of taking possession. Deal with Marcus's inevitable schemes. Navigate whatever relationship might remain with my mother. But tonight, I walked through rooms filled with memories, touching familiar furniture, feeling Grandpa's presence in every corner. This wasn't just an inheritance. It was a trust. A belief that love matters more than blood, that showing up matters more than showing off, that family is about who stays when staying gets hard. Marcus had been wrong. I wasn't a charity case Grandpa felt sorry for. I was the granddaughter he chose to trust with everything he'd built. And I'd prove worthy of that trust, one day at a time, one memory at a time, one act of real love at a time. The estate was mine. But more importantly, it was home. And Marcus would never darken its door again.